Armin stares at his phone, refreshing the chat like it's a life monitor. He tells himself, if I send the perfect message, she'll finally miss me. But that's not how human psychology works. You can't convince a nervous system into desire through repetition. In fact, the more his name pops up on her screen, the less her brain reacts. To her, he's becoming digital wallpaper, always there, never special. Before Armin can make her miss him, he has to understand the brutal truth. Right now, his attention costs her nothing. Now switch scenes. She's on her couch, scrolling, laughing at memes, half replying to 3 different guys. Armin's messages are in there somewhere, but they don't land. Not because he's ugly or worthless, but because he's constant. Her brain is drowning in attention, likes, DMs, compliments. Neuroscience tells us the brain filters repeated, predictable stimuli as noise. That's what Armin has become: familiar, safe, ignorable. If her nervous system never experiences his absence, it has no reason to signal, I miss him. Psychologists describe missing someone as a mix of reward, habit, and withdrawal. When emotional connection is suddenly interrupted, the brain responds like it does to a craving. Dopamine pathways fire, asking, where is that person who used to give me this feeling? But the key word is interrupted. Armin has never allowed interruption. His messages arrive like a constant drip, so her system never feels a gap. If he wants her to miss him, he must create contrast, a clear before and after, presence and absence. One evening, Armin catches himself mid-text. He scrolls up and sees the evidence. Double text after double text, walls of blue bubbles, her replies shrinking. It finally hits him. His effort isn't creating attraction, it's confirming his low status in her world. Real self-awareness begins when a man can look at his own behavior without excuses. Instead of asking, why doesn't she like me? He asks, what story does my behavior tell? Right now, his story screams, I'll wait. Armin decides to do the one thing his fear hates: nothing. No more good morning texts. No more instant replies. No more heart reactions to every story. He doesn't announce it. He simply stops feeding the system. In digital terms, he has been front row, always visible, always accessible. Now he quietly steps back to the balcony. This isn't ghosting out of spite, it's a psychological reset. Her nervous system cannot miss what it constantly consumes. The pattern must be broken. Disappearing only works if it's filled with something real. Many men go no contact and just sit there obsessing in silence. That's not attractive, that's invisible desperation. Armin does something different. He joins a gym. He reconnects with friends. He signs up for a course he's been putting off. Behavioral science is clear. People who invest in multiple sources of meaning become less emotionally dependent on any single person. The less Armin's identity revolves around her, the more naturally his presence starts to feel valuable. After a while, something subtle shifts. Not in Armin, in her. She opens her story viewers and notices his name isn't there. She posts something funny and doesn't see his laughing reaction. She has a slow day and realizes his "How's your day going?" is missing. Her rational mind may still say, I don't like him like that. But human brains hate incomplete patterns. The absence of a once steady presence creates a small itch. That itch is the early shape of missing someone. One afternoon, she taps his profile out of habit. This is where most guys fail. Nothing has changed. Same selfies, same energy. But Armin's profile tells a new story. Photos of him out with people. Clips of him training. A shot from a class or workshop. Nothing try-hard, nothing staged, just genuine movement. Social psychology calls this social proof. We value what appears valued by others. For the first time, her brain registers a new possibility. Maybe he isn't quietly waiting anymore. And moments. The song you showed her. The weird dessert you both laughed about. The inside joke about that rainy day. These become emotional anchors. Armin can't control when she hears that song again, but if he was present, grounded, and unique in those moments, her nervous system will briefly replay Armin in the background. You don't make her miss you by forcing contact. You let shared anchors do quiet work over time. Research shows we remember people who change how we think and feel. Armin used to just agree with everything she said, hoping to be liked. Now, he has opinions, interests, perspectives. In past conversations, he started to ask better questions, to challenge her gently, to share ideas that stretched her thinking. When he's absent, she doesn't just miss his compliments. She misses the mental stimulation and emotional safety he accidentally stopped providing by chasing. It's not the nice that sticks, it's the depth. After weeks of genuine focus on himself, Armin doesn't feel desperate anymore. He still likes her, but she isn't his center. That's the only time a re-entry makes sense. Not 2 days later, not out of panic. He sends something small, a callback to an inside joke, a meme about that dessert, a neutral, "This reminded me of that ridiculous rainy day." No pressure, no apology tour. His message doesn't say, "Do you miss me yet?" It quietly says, "I exist. I'm good. I remember." When she responds, Armin doesn't dive back into old habits. He keeps interactions short, warm, and emotionally alive. In behavioral terms, he creates spikes of positive contact rather than a constant stream. They joke, share a thought, maybe recall a moment. And then, he's the one who ends the conversation first, while energy is still high. This leaves her brain with unfinished emotional momentum. The mind tends to replay what feels incomplete. That replay is exactly what missing you feels like on the inside. Important reality check. None of this guarantees she'll fall madly for Armin. Psychology explains patterns, not destiny. She still has her own history, preferences, and boundaries. If she's clearly with someone else, uninterested, or asks for space, the most attractive move is to respect that fully. True self-respect means you never use missing you tactics to override another person's no. The point is not to trap her emotionally. The point is to become a man whose presence matters and whose absence can be felt, without force. By now, Armin is no longer the guy refreshing his phone hoping for miracles. He's training, learning, laughing, resting. Whether she comes closer or fades out, his life still moves. Ironically, this is the version of him most women notice: grounded, occupied, emotionally present, but not needy. Missing someone badly requires that person to be both emotionally impactful and not constantly available. That's who Armin is now becoming, not just for her, but for anyone who crosses his path. So, can you make any woman miss you badly, even if she's not interested? Not by begging, spamming, or trying to convince her. You do it by stepping back, leveling up, and allowing psychology to do what it naturally does with rare, grounded, emotionally rich people. It remembers them. She may come closer, she may not. But if you do this right, you win either way. Because the man you become in this process is someone you won't easily forget, even if she does.